Section 2, Cult Prescriptions. Chapter 1, the Profession of Faith. And the Profession of Faith, Ashuhada, and Cult Prescriptions, Arkanul Islam, which really wouldn't be translated as cult prescriptions, but perhaps back in the day, cult wasn't being used as a slur. But it's definitely things that make Islam distinct. I'm not entirely sure how to read the inscription. Wa fimu salata wa nu zakata. Okay, so the central prescriptions are the ritual prayers and the charity. And within the design is somebody prostrating next to a book. So he must have reached one of the 15 prostration passages, which encompasses 22 verses. And, you know, there's the stairs, which in Islam, there's supposed to be 3 steps up at most. And from there, the person would give the sermon. This is obviously more, and it's quite ornate. Wa ilahukum ilahun wahidun la ilaha illa wal rahmanu rahim. Muhammadun Rasulullah. Why do they never have that in full translation, right? And a salat. So we're going 1 and 2 here. Wa aqimma salata tarafi an-nahari waru zalafan Menalayla and now Hasanate Yudhibna Sayate Dhalika Dhikra Ledhakarin Hafizu Allah Salawate Wasalate Wusta Waqumul Lillahi Qanatin Fa'in Keftum Farijalan au Rukbanan Fa'idha Amintum Fadhkuru Laha Kama Alamakum Malam Takunu Na Alamun. Surah 2, Ayat 163, and your God is one God, exclusive of any other. He is merciful and compassionate. And so literally no God but he. Surah 48, Ayat 29, which is the last mention of Muhammad by name in the Quran. So Muhammad is the messenger of God. And our second section here is called the religious service of prayer. Surah 11, Ayat 114, celebrate the religious service of the prayer at the 2 ends of the day, at a part of the night. Good works repel evil works. That is a reminder to the mindful. Surah 2, Ayat 238 to 239. Take heed to celebrate the service of the prayer, and in particular the third, celebrate the service with fervor. If you are in danger, officiate on the move, afoot, or on horseback. If you're in safety, say your litanies in the way God has taught you, and which you did not know. So the middle prayer. So there's different ways of looking at it. Are we in the middle of the hottest of the day? Is it the late afternoon prayer? Are we in the middle of the day? Is it the early afternoon prayer? Is it the middle prayer in sequence? So therefore the dawn prayer. which also happens to be the coldest prayer. R, the middle prayer that I prefer the reference to, is the the inner side of the prayer. And the Quran talks more from that angle than so officiate. So literally, if you fear, but not fear as in, just, oh, people don't like me to pray. No, you pray in the right position. But I don't know if you're in a Franklin Graham Crusades down the street, it might not be safe to publicly pray. I don't know. Some countries, wa'aqimu salata wa'atu zakata wa ma tuqaddimu li'anfusikum min khairin najiduhu indallahi innallaha bima ta'amaluna basir. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la taqrabu salata wa antum sukara hatta ta'alamu ma taqulu wa la junuban illa abri sabilan hatta tagtasilu wa in kuntum marda aw Allah safaran aw ja ahadun minkum min al-qa'id aw la mastumu nisa'a falam tajidu ma'an fatayammamu sa'idan tayyiban famsahu biwujuhikum wa aydikum innallaha kana afuwan ghafura. Surah 2, Ayat 110. Celebrate the service of prayer and give alms. Whatever good you shall do beforehand on the earth for the sake of your souls, you shall find it with God, for God does see clearly what you do. Surah 4, Ayat 43. O ye who believe, do not venture to celebrate the service of prayer while you are drunk, or, well, when you're in a state of intoxication or covering. You don't say extra prayer when you say the required prayer, but you don't say extra prayer when you need to get sleep. Say, get your sleep and then get up later. But do so only when you know what you say. If you're polluted, do so only after you have washed yourselves, unless you be on a journey. If you are sick or on a journey, or one of you come from the privy, from going to the bathroom, or you have had sexual connection with a woman, and vice versa for a woman with her husband, and you could not find water, then use clean soil and wipe your faces and your hands therewith. God is indulgent and merciful. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha qumtum ila salati faghsilu wujuhakum wa aydiyakum ilal marafiqi wamsahu birusikum wa arjulukum ilal ka'abaini wa in kuntum junuban fatahharu wa in kuntum marda aw Allah safaran aw ja'a ahadun minkum min al-qa'id aw lamastumu nisa falam tajidu ma'an fatayammu sa'idan tayyiban famsahu biwujuhikum wa aydikum minhu ma yuridullaha liyajalla alaykum min harajin walakin yuridu liyutahhirakum wa liyutimma ni'amatahu alaykum la'allakum tashkurun. Wa min haythu kharajta فَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ. Surah 5, Ayat 6. O ye who believe, when you make ready to celebrate the service of prayer, wash your faces, your arms including the elbows, your feet up to and including the ankles, and pass your wet hands over your heads. If you're in a state of legal pollution, purify yourselves. If you are sick or on a journey, or if one of you come from the privy, or if you have had intercourse with women and cannot find water, then look for clean soil and rub your faces and hands therewith. God does not wish to hinder you, but to purify you and to heap kindness upon you, so that you may be thankful. You know, it can literally take 30 seconds to do all that. Surah 2, Ayat 149. From whensoever thou comest forth, turn thy face towards the sacred mosque for... Okay, so that you may be thankful, fulfill his favor upon you. Okay. Oh, before that, kindness, purify yourselves, you know, give yourself a shower. And after, okay, sexual fluid release, it's, you know, male or female. And the exactness of putting the wet hands over is, you know, you wipe over your hands. And there's the dialectic version that you wipe over your feet, because, you know, if you already have shoes and all that on, then, you know. So whenever the paste sacred mosque or al-harame wa annahu lal-haqqu min rabbika wa mallahu ben qafilin amma ta'amalun fa'idha qadaytumu salata wadhkurullaha qiyaman wa qu'udan wa ala juhubikum fa'idhat manantum fa'aqimu salata wa inna salata kanat alal mu'minin kitaban mawquta ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha nuriya lissalati min yawmin al juhu'ati fas'au ila dhikrullahi wa dharu bai'a dhalikaum khairul lakum in kuntum ta'lamun fa'idha qudiyat salata fantashiru fil ardi wabtagu min fadlillahi wadhkurullaha kathiran la'allakum tuflihun. This is a duty thy Lord imposes upon thee. God is not heedless of what you do. Surah 4, Ayat 103. When you have fulfilled the service of prayer, recite your litanies, standing, sitting, or lying, you know, lying down. When you are in safety, celebrate the service. It is prescribed for the believers and timed. Surah 62, Ayat 9 and 10. O ye believers, when the call to the service is made on Friday, then hasten, leaving off your commercial affairs, to come and recite your litanies. That will be better for you if you did but know. When the service is performed, disperse outside, resume your affairs, and think often of God so that you may prosper. You know, implore the grace of God that you may prosper. Disperse on the earth. And the day of assembly is what the word for Friday means. Wamur ahlaka bisalate wastabir alayha la nas'aluka rizqan nahnu narzukuka wal aqibatu letaqwa wa aqimu salata wa atu zakata warka'u ma'a rak'in atamuruna nasa beberre wa tansau anfusakum wa antum tatlunal kitaba afala ta'aqilun wasta'inu besabre wa salate wa innaha la kabiratun illa ala khashi'in aladina yatununa annahum mulaqu rabbihim wa atahum ilayhi raji'un ya ayyuhal muzammil qum al-layla illa qalila nisfa'u aw winqus minhu qalila aw zid alayhi wa rattilil Quran. Surah 20, ayat 132. Bid the members of thy family to celebrate the service, and do not permit thyself to neglect it. We do not ask thee to give us something. We will provide. The fear of God leads to paradise. You know, the happy sequence. Most of the references are about regard. But it depends, fear and hope and love and hate is all the important things. We don't hate beings, right? Surah 2, 843, 46. Celebrate the service and give alms, bow down with those who bow. Shall you demand from men that they engage in good deeds, and shall you forget to prescribe this to yourselves? And yet you recite the book. Come, do you not reason? Seek aid in resignation and the celebration of the service. This is indeed a submission, but not for the humble, who are convinced that they will meet their Lord, and that to him they will return. But not the humble. That doesn't quite sound right with the translation there, because it's a submission either way. And you're supposed to seek help with patience and prayer, as another verse says. Surah 73, 1-8. O thou who sleepest, enwrapped in thy cloak, celebrate the service by night but a little. The half, slightly less than the half, are, because the extra prayer in the middle of the night between the dusk prayer and the dawn prayer, there's different amounts that you can do if you're going to do it in all. Tartilan inna sanuqi alayka qawlan thaqila inna na shi'ata alayla hiya shaddu wat'an waqwamu qila inna laka finnahare subhan tawila wadhurisma rabbika watabato ilayhi tabtila inna rabbaka ya'alamu annaka taqumu adna min thuluthaya layla wa nisfaha wa thuluthaha wa ta'ifatun min alladhina ma'aka wallahu yuqadiru layla wa nahara alimma an tuhsuhu fataba alaykum faqra'u ma tayassara min al-Quran alimma an sayakunu minkum marda wa qaruna yadribuna fil arde yamtaguna min fadlillahi wa aqaruna yuqatiluna fi sabilillahi faqra'u ma tayassara minhu wa aqimu. A little more, but chant Al-Quran properly. Some issues with the text, I'm better at, but I'm trying with this print here. We shall tell thee an important thing. The service celebrated during the first part of the night has more weight and is better in speech. Verily thou hast by day a long employment. Invoke the name of thy Lord and commit thyself entirely to him. Surah 73, Ayat 20. Thy Lord knows that with part of those who are with thee, thou dost celebrate the service nearly 2/3 of the night, the half are the third of it. God, who regulates the night and the day, knows that you calculate it wrong, so he forgives you. Read what you can of Al-Quran. He knows there are some of you who are sick, others who go to and fro in order to earn their living. Others, lastly, who fight in the cause of God. Read what you can. Celebrate they earn the living, craving the grace of God. So they broke that up into page again. Do we have the word for fight? Okay, yeah, we do have the word for fight. But remember, they're not fighting to force religion on anyone. As-salata wa tu zakata wa aqridu laha qardan hasanan wa ma tuqaddimu li'anfusikum min khairin tajiduhu indallahi wa khairan wa azama ajran wastaghfirullaha innallaha ghafurun rahim. And our third section is the ka. Innama sadaqatu lil fuqara'i wal masakina wal amlina alayha wal muwallafati qulubuhum wa fi riqabi wal qarimina wa fi sabilillahi wa ibn sabili faridatan minallahi wallahu alimun hakim. Service and pay the alms, lend to God a goodly loan. What you shall advance for yourselves of good, you will find it again with God, so it will be better than the finest reward. Implore the pardon of God, for God is forgiving, merciful. So part 3 of this, so 113, Surah 9, Ayat 60. Alms are set apart for the poor and the needy and those who collect them, for the neophytes, the redemption of the slaves, the insolvent debtors, for the cause of God, and for the wayfarer. This is an ordinance from God. God is knowing, wise. And the word here is alms. The required alms is a bit stricter in its directions, but so literally those whose hearts have been won is what the comment says about the thing. So section 4, Asiyam, the fast. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykumu siyamu kama kutiba alaladhina min qablikum la'alakum tattaqun ayyaman ma'adudatin faman kana minkum maridan أو ما سفارا فائدة من أيام أخرى وعلى الذين يتقونه فدية طعام مساكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهم خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم شهر فليصمه ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخرى يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا. Okay, so the fast, Surah 2, ayat 183 to 185. The last one was rather incomplete, but it did summarize. It's for anything that's good, anything in God's cause. But God's cause, not just God's name, God's cause. But anyways, oh, you believers, there is prescribed for you the fast during a definite number of days, as it was prescribed for those before you, so that may fear God. Those among you who are ill or on a journey are hindered, let them fast an additional number of days, but those who break the fast may redeem it by the distribution of food to the poor. Whosoever has been liberal willingly in these distributions will derive much benefit therefrom. Fast, therefore, it is better for you. Should you remember these prescriptions, it is the month of Ramadan, scorching, burning, the ninth month, just like in the Bible, there you fast the ninth month, wherein Al-Quran was revealed to show the right way to men with rigorous precision and to serve as a criterion between right and wrong. So 1 year Muhammad was told the Quran twice. That was his last year, year 10, Al-Hijrah. Whosoever among you will perceive the crescent shall fast during the entire month. Those of you who ill or on a journey are hindered, let them fast an additional number of days. Okay. Additional number of days for the first time, literally, he among you was ill or on a journey, then another number of days. Okay. And those who break the fast. For according to commentators, one should read law, you tikunahu, who could not fast because of their old age or a deficient state of health. Well, if you're 140, you should be able to fast. But if there's a physical condition that keeps you from your prayer and stuff like that, you pray, don't fast. But age is, well, that just covers for the natural ailments that tend to come in old age. So those prescriptions, exact, if you did but know, yuridu bikumu usra wale tukmelu idata wale tukabirulaha ala mahadakum wala alakum tashkurun uhela lakum leilata siyame rafathu ila nisaikum huna libasun lakum wa antum libasun lahuna limallahu anakum kuntum taktanuna anfusakum fataba alaykum wa afa ankum fal ana bashiruhunna wabtangu makataballahu lakum wa kulu washrabu hata yatabayana lakumul khaytu abaidu minal khayte, or is it nahite al aswade minal fajre thumma atimu siyama ila leile wala tubashiruhunna wa antum akithuna fil masajidil masajid hilka hududulahe fallah. God desires your ease and not your discomfort, that you may complete the days of fasting and glorify him for having shown you the right way, that you may give thanks to him. Surah 2, 887. It is lawful for you on the night of the fast to have commerce with your wives. They are a garment unto you, and you are a garment unto them. God knows that you had not awaited the revelation to do so. Literally, you did not betray yourselves. He forgives you and blots out your sin. So now be in commerce with them and be content with what God prescribes for you. Well, have your relations with them. Commerce makes it sound weird. Eat and drink until you can distinguish a white thread from a black one at dawn. Now, some people hold out threads, but actually it was always understood as the horizontal lines of twilight, and it was described like that. There's the false dawn and the false dusk, but it's the then fast strictly until the night, sunset. When you are in the mosques, do not interrupt your devotions to have commerce with your wife, sexual relations. So literally have no sexual connection with your wives when you're in a retirement in the mosques. Oh, so the translator didn't like, don't have sex with your wives when you're in the masjid, or, when you leave the masjid to take care of your needs, you break your retreat if you do that, if you're doing that at night, which we don't count, but anyways. These are the taqrabuha kadhalika yubyinu lahu yatehe lanase la'alakum yattaqun. Al-Hajj. Wa'timu hajja wal umrata lillahi fa in asirtum fama astaysara minal hadi wala tahliqu rusakum hatta yabluqau haddahu mahillahu faman kana minkum maridan aw bihi dhan min rasihi fa fidyatun min siyamin aw sadaqatin aw nusukin fa idha amintum faman tamatta'a bil umrate ilal hajj famas taysara minal haddi faman lam yajid fasiyamu thalathate ayamin fil hajj wa sab'atin. Bounds that God has set, so draw not near thereto. Thus does God make manifest his signs to men, humans, that they may fear him. And remember, we're not using the gender language with God, we're using neutrals here. And so part 5 of 2:1 is the pilgrimage to Mecca, Surah 2, 896 to 203. For the love of God, fulfill the pilgrimage to Mecca, with and without the sacrifice of a sheep. Well, it could be other than a sheep, but an edible animal. If insecurity prevents you from fulfilling the pilgrimage, offer a sheep according to your means, and shave not your heads until your offering shall reach the place of sacrifice. He among you, being sick or afflicted with a disease upon his head, should be obliged to shave. So, for love for God, the Hajj must be accompanied on the 10th of the month Dhul Hijjah, so the 12th month, with the sacrifice of a sheep. Can be a goat, can be a camel, can be a cow. The Umrah only calls for the performance of the rites around the Kaaba, so just the circumambulations between the Safa and Marwa and around the Kaaba. And so if you're besieged and stopped, so that gives you an idea of the fear talked about earlier, and offer an offering. So it doesn't say sheep, it says an offering. It's just usually a sheep. Idha raja'atun tilka asharatun kalamatun dhalika liman man yakun aluhu hadiril masjidil harame wa taqulaha wa alamu anallaha shadidul iqab al-hajju ashhurun ma'alumatun faman farada fihinnal hajja fala rafatha wala fusuqa wala jadala fil hajj wa ma taf'alu min khairin ya'lamhu lahu wa tazawwaru fa inna khaira zad taqwa wa taquna ya ulil albab laysa alaykum junahun an tabtagu fadman min rabbikum fa idha afadtum min arafatin fadhkurullaha indal mash'aril harame wadhkuruhu kama hadakum. You will have to fast, give alms, or offer a sacrifice to God if you are safe and content with accomplishing the pilgrimage without the sacrifice of a sheep, instead of that which includes the sacrifice of a sheep. As we said before, it's Qurban, a gift. It behoves you, according to your means, to offer an animal in sacrifice, and he could not obtain an animal. Let him fast 3 days at the time of pilgrimage with a sacrifice of sheep, and 7 days when he returns home, and make 10 days complete. This applies to those whose family are not present in the sacred perimeter. Fear God and know that God is stern punishment. The pilgrimage with the sacrifice of sheep must take place in predetermined months. Whosoever in these months shall undertake the pilgrimage, let him have commerce neither with his wife or another woman, nor a quarrel during the performance of the rites. Whatever of good you do, God will know. So predetermined months. Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, and Dhul Hijjah. Well, the 3 sacred months in a row, Dhul Qa'dah, the 11th month, Dhul Hijjah, and Muharram, so 11, 12, and 1. And the 7th month is Rajab. The best month to make the lesser pilgrimage in is Ramadan, which is the 9th month. Wa in kuntum min qablehe la minna dalin thumma afidu min haythu afadda nasu wastaghfirullaha innallaha ghafurun rahim. Fa idha adaytum manasikakum fadhkurullaha kadhikrikum aba'akum aw ashadda dhikran faminna nase Manyakolu Urbana Tinafi Adeya wa Malahu fil akhirate min qalak wa minhum Manyakolu Rabbana Atina fidunya hasanatan wa fil akhirate hasanatan wa qina adhaban Awla'ika lahum nasibun mimma kasabu wallahu sariyul hisab wadhkurullaha fi ayyam it provide yourselves for your journey, yet the best provision is the fear of Allah. Fear me, O people of sense, it shall be no sin to you that you trade during the pilgrimage, when you pour forth from Arafat, chant litanies abreast of the sacred place, give thanks to him for guiding you on the right way, although you were but lately of those who erred. Then pour ye forth from whence the throng will pour forth and ask pardon of God, for he is forgiving and merciful. When you have performed the rites of the pilgrimage, invoke God as you invoked your fathers, but with more fervor still. Some there are amongst men who say, Lord, provide for us in this world. They will have no portion in the other. Others say, Lord, endue us with thy bounty in this world and other, and keep us from the tribulations of hell. These will have the portion of the good they have. Okay, the comment, the sacred place. Koza? Muzdalifa? And literally to seek a gain from your Lord, that you tried on the pilgrimage. Okay, when you pour forth. Ma'adudatin faman tafajala fi yaumaine fala ithma alayhi waman takara fala ithma alayhi liman taqa wa taqullaha wa alamu annakum alayhi tuhsharun. And done. God is prompt at the balancing accounts. Recite the litanies during the appointed days. Whoso hastens and does it in 2 days will commit no sin. It is no sin to him, either who lingers on, provided he fears God. So fear God and know that raised again to life, he should be gathered to him. And so what you've acquired in the way of devotion, the 3 days which follows all Victims' Day, that doesn't, no, that's a weird way to say that, but the festivity of the sacrifice. But anyways, the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, so the 11th, 12th, and 13th are the days talked about. So section 6, we're calling it the holy ward, but al-jihad is the struggle, usually not in terms of war. Out of the 165 verses that talk about jihad more explicitly, you can say that, how many of them actually apply to that, right? Qatalu ladina la yuminuna billahi wala bil yawmil akhir wala yuharrimuna ma harramallahu wa rasulahu wala yadinuna dinal haqqa min alladhina utul kitaba hatta yu'atu jizyata an yadin wa hum sagerun. Done. God is prompt at the balancing of accounts. Recite the litanies during the appointed days. Oh, okay, I already went that. That holy war, Surah 9, ayat 29. Fight those who believe not in God and the last day and who do not deem it illicit what God and his prophet have declared illicit, and also those among the folks of the gospel who do not well, it should say who did not practice the religion of truth until they be humbled and pay their hands by their hands the tribute. And remember, the Quran is a song, or it's a song book, so therefore you can't quote a line out of thing. You can't. Don't make a judgment out Surah 9 unless you actually know what Surah 8, 4, and 7 have to say. And we find that nobody was ever fought because they weren't Muslim. No fighting, disbelief, no people for disbelief, blasphemy, apostasy. These were not things that people were ever fought for in the Islamic vision. Infiru khifafan wa thiqalan wa jahidu yamwalikum wa anfusikum fi sabilillahi dhalikum khairulakum in kuntum ta'alamun. And okay, so the pilgrimage and the fasting was listed as pretty comprehensive, but some of the other ones, so the prayer and the charity weren't done too well as far as the selections. I mean, it was, it fit the subject, but it wasn't as comprehensive. But see, we have the way of God. So Surah 290 to 195 is the first thing in the Quran you come across, but the first thing learned from the Quran is Surah 22, ayat 39 and 40. So, in defense of everybody's religious rights, every religious place. وَقَتَلُوهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةٌ وَيَكُونَ الدِّينُ كُلُّهُ لِلَّهِ فَإِنْ انْتَهُوا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِمَا يَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْقِتَالُ وَهُوَ كُرْهٌ لَهُمْ وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌّ لَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Surah 9, ayat 41. Leap ye then, light and heavy, and fight with your wealth and your persons in God's service. This is for your good if you do not understand. So literally in God's way, which is a little stronger of a thing than in God's name, right? Because there's all these conditions to it. Surah 8, ayat 39. Fight them until there is an end of doctrinal strife, and there is no other religion than God's. If they make amends, God will see it. So doctrinal strife, so civil war, you don't want civil war. And, if they desist, you can make amends. And exactly, God will look upon what they will do. Surah 2, ayat 216. Fighting is prescribed for you, and yet it is hateful to you. Perhaps you are adverse to what is good for you and attracted by what is bad for you. God knows, and you do not know. And remember, the first thing in the Quran indicates self-defense, right? And you're driving people out because you've been driven out, that sort of thing, In Allah ashtara minal mu'minina anfusahum wa amwalahum bi'anna lahumul jannata yuqatiluna fi sabilillahi fiyaqtuluna waqtaluna wa'adan alayhi haqqan fi tawrati wal injili wal furqani wa man awfa bi ahdihi min Allahi fastabshiru bi bai'ikumul ladhi bay'atum bihi wa dhalika huwal fawzul azim. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qatilu ladhina yalunakum minal kufaril wal yajidu fikum qilzatan wa alamu anallaha ma'al mutaqin wa la tahsibanna ladina qutilu fi sabilillahi amwatan bal ahya inda rabbihim yarzuqun. Okay, that it looked more like a K, looked like a Kabul or something, but it's Balahya. Balahya. Okay. Balyah. Okay. Surah 9, 8, 111. God has bought the believers, their persons, and their wealth for the paradise he has reserved for them. They shall fight in God's service. They shall slay and be slain. This is a certain promise, the fulfillment whereof God has assumed in the Pentateuch, the Gospel, and Al Quran, the actual scripture of that the Tanakh is based on, and the actual one that the New Testament is based on. But yeah. And who is more faithful to his covenant than God? Rejoice then at the bargain which you have concluded with him. That is a most litigious issue. Surah 9, 8, 123. O ye believers, fight the infidels who surround you. Islam doesn't call people infidels. Fight those who are misbelieving. Let them find sternness in you and know that God is with those who are stern. So literally those who are near you. Okay. So you don't go out of your way to fight, obviously. That's the point you should get. Surah 3, 169. Do not think that those who have been killed in the service of God are dead. Far from it, they are alive. They are well provided for, near to their Lord. Wala'in tiltum fi sabilillahi aw mittum la magfiratun minallahi wa rahmatun khairun mimma tajma'un wala'in mittum aw qutiltum la ilallahi tuhsharun falam taqtuluhum walakinallaha qatalahum wa ma ramaita irramaita walakinallaha rama wa liyublil mu'minina minhu bala'a hasanan innallaha sami'un alim. Yas'alunaka anishahril harame qitale fihe qul qitalu fihe kabirun wasadun an sabilillahi wa kufrun bihi wal masjidil harame wa ikraju ahlihi minhu akbaru indallahi wal fitnatu. Surah 3, 8, 157, 158. And if you be killed or die in God's service, this is remission of sins and a mercy from God more precious than what you can gather. And if you die or be killed, it is always before God that you shall meet. And we find, at least in the narrations, that if you give yourself over to such a battle, then your sins are forgiven whether you live or die. Exact, you shall be assembled. So you shall be before God, you shall be assembled. Surah 8, verse 17. You did not slay them, it is God who slew them, nor didst thou strike a blow, and thou didst strike, but God did strike, to try the believers with a goodly trial. God both hears and knows all. So you didn't slay your enemies, you were just the means. Surah 2, ayat 217. They will question thee on this point as to whether war can be waged during the sacred month. Literally, they will question thee about the sacred month of fighting therein. Say, War during this month is an outrage, but enticing folks from God's service, from the faith in God and the sacred mosque, and turning out the occupants. Well, Muhammad and his associates is the comment, but anybody who's the worshippers, just like what may be done Passover 2024. I forget the Hebrew here for that, but their from is even much worse in Akbaru mina qatle wala yazaluna yuqatilunakum hatta yurudukum andinikum innistata'u wa man yartadid minkum an rinihe fayamutun wa huwa kafirun fa'ulaika habitat amalukum fi dunya wal akhirati wa ulaika ashabun narihum fiha khalidun fa'idha an salakha ashurul urumu fa'aktulul mushrikina, the misassociators, haythu wajadtumuhum wakuduhum wahsuruhum waqudulahum kulu marsadin fa'in tabu wa aqamu salata wa tuzakata faqalu sabilahum inallaha ghafurun rahim. God's sight, doctrinal strife, is worse than war. They will not cease from fighting you if they can until they have turned you from your religion. Those of you who will abjure the religion will die misbelievers. It's in the singular. And, well, misassociators is the better term. In their works, in this word and in the next, will be vain. They are the damned who dwell eternally in hell. Surah 9, verse 5, when the sacred months have passed away. Kill the infidels wherever you may find them, because the automatic truce had ended. Take them prisoner, besiege them, lie in wait for them. If they make amends, celebrate the service of prayer and pay the alms and let them go their way. God is forgiving, merciful. In the word, it's not infidels, it's misassociators. Makana lebani an yakuna lahu asra hata yuthkina fil arde turiduna arada dunya wallahu yuridul akhirata wallahu azizun hakim fala tahinu wa tad'u ila salme wa antumu alawna wallahu ma'akum walan yatirukum malakum fakul mimma ghanimtum halalan tayyiban wa taqullaha innallaha ghafurun rahim wa alamu annama ghanimtum min shay'in fa anna lillahi khumsahu wa lirasuli wa lidhil qurba wal yatama wal masakine wabne. Surah 8, ayat 67. No prophet has been able to take captives without having slaughtered in the land you wish to have the goods of this world, while God wishes you to attain paradise. Literally, God wishes for paradise. God is mighty wise. Surah 47, ayat 35. Do not waver nor cry for peace when you have the upper hand, and when God is with you, he will not divest you of the consequences of your works. Surah 8, ayat 69. Dispose of what spoils, land, treasure, slaves, people converting. That's extra stuff in war in Islamic tradition. You have taken what is lawful and good. Fear God. God is forgiving, merciful. Surah 8, ayat 41. If you believe in God and what we have revealed to our servant on the day of discrimination between good and evil, error and truth, and when the two parties met, like the Muslimin and the misbelievers, know that however scanty the spoil, you asabila in kuntum amantum billahi wa ma anzalna ala abdina yamal furqana yama taqba al jam'ana wallahu ala kulli shay'in qadir lil fuqara'il muhajirina ladhina ukhriju min diyarihim wa amwalihim yabtaguna fadlan min Allahi wa ridwanan wa yansuruna laha wa rasulahu ulaika humusaddiqun. Have seized a fifth thereof as due to God, to the prophet, to his kindred, to the orphans, the poor, and the wayfarers. God is almighty. So, war is not something just, you do as a mercenary. It's, to benefit society. Surah 59, ayat 8. The spoils are due to the poor exiles who have been sundered from their country and their wealth, and who, with the grace and assent of God, sought the triumph of God and his prophet. These are the true believers. And that is going to be it. I guess that should have been